Day 1 of the battery test of the Nothing Phone 2A. 100% charge. Gotta take the dog out for a walk. Hey buddy, time to go for a walk? Walkie? Yes!
Wait, don't move. I have the... there we go.
Alright, let's go. But today is not just any day, it's a Saturday. So we're not just going for a walk. Today's park day, which is why I have a backpack. We actually have been getting alert messages for the last 2 days for highly unstable weather in Dubai. So basically average amounts of rain for any other place of the world. But over here, average amounts of rain can make a difference. Let's hope we can do this before I get caught in the rain. You know, I just realized some of this video should be shot on the Nothing Phone 2 as well. And I'm gonna do that. You're watching the Nothing Phone 2A. Not that bright outside and I'm wiggling about. It does have a problem with me wiggling about. Like I think the background shakes a little every now and then, but all I'm hoping for is I don't get caught in the rain. When you have a dog, you have to take him out for a walk. Even if it's raining, the only way he goes to the toilet is if he goes for a walk. So you kind of have to do it for his sake. But the question is, are all dog owners crazy enough to go to the park when there's rain forecast? Just regular Dubai morning things. It's just how it is. Whew. There he goes. Do you want this? Do you want this? Yes you do. Yes you do. Bring him back. Oh boy. Oh no, just missed. Yep, no, okay. Alright, we're going there. Got distracted. Oh, hello. Let's use that zoom a bit, shall we? Look at these guys. Wow, okay, that's cool. That is, how do I get one of those? Morning in Dubai. Yeah, what can I tell you? Do you know what I was thinking? It's not crazy that I'm out when rain is forecast. Okay, it's a little bit crazy when the rain is forecast, but it's crazy that I came out without a wind cheater or anything.
Yeah.
It's not going to be crazy. Dubai overreacts the rain a little bit. A little bit. Okay, so I guess it did start raining after all. Look at that. You can't even see the top of the Burj Khalifa. It's in cloud. It's worth noting that it is 7:27, about an hour since I woke up, and the battery is at 95%. Okay, that's not too bad, given that I have been on social media a bit and I have taken video and photos and such. So 5%, 1 hour. The question is, should I make a dash back home or don't get hit by the bus? Let's go! So Lamborghini is still in the rain. Oh well. By the way, this is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. Not great for video indoors. Just the color science is off, but you're seeing a more realistic video right now in terms of the brightness and saturation on a Samsung than you did earlier on the Nothing. So definitely kicks colors up a bit in certain situations. Okay, all dried up, showered, nice. Time for a bit of a coffee. Okay, so the time is 8:20 and the battery is at 91%, so about 10% in 2 hours. So going by this, it's going to go down to about 40% by end of day around. Right now, it's time for breakfast. Oh, that breakfast looks fire. It's gonna be good.
Nothing is actually bulletproof. There's always gonna be a
Perfect breakfast video. Jerry rig everything. Love this guy. Okay, so maybe I got caught up a little bit in that Jerry rig everything video. I need to get down to work now. And get down to work I did, sprinkled with an unhealthy dose of social media to distract me. And once that got too tiring, I decided to take a break with even more social media, but also an episode of The Rookie on Netflix. So, a little bit of an update. I stopped watching TV and I decided to shoot a little video, edit it on the phone and post it, both on YouTube as a short as well as on X. Go on X and follow me. Hey buddy, do you wanna play? Go on, have a sniff. You like it? I think he likes it. the point is, it's 12:36 now. That's 6 hours from when I woke up, and the battery at the moment is 74%. 2 hours and 13 minutes of screen on time. So you should get about 8 hours on a full charge in theory. In practice, well, we'll just have to find out. Now, there's a couple of things I noticed, right? There's one big thing I noticed. Now, at the $350 price point, there's a lot of options out there in terms of great specifications, but the one thing you don't get is a great user interface. And some people might disagree. And the thing about Android is you can make it what you want it to be, but this is as near a stock Android experience as possible without actually just being stock. And Nothing's done some really nice little things, and I appreciate those, but the thing that stood out to me was no advertisements. And there's other things too, like the whole thing, MediaTek Dimensity 7200 and all that, people had apprehensions, but it's so smooth. There's literally, there's no issues. There's no stutters. Okay, occasionally a stutter, but not nearly enough to make me rethink my decision to get this phone. But having no advertisements at this price point is a bit of a novelty, because every single other phone will have its own apps, bloatware, that will try and throw ads at you, and they just, it's like a slap in the face, like your money wasn't enough. This is a refreshing change, and the whole thing feels solid. 6.7 inches, not my favorite thing, but having a plastic back, turns out, improves grip. Normally I would never go for something this big, but I gotta say the user experience is fantastic. As for the camera, which is the other huge thing that people want, well, I just want to spend a little more time with the camera before I talk about it. So before the end of the video, we'll discuss that as well. Alright, I am going to take a little nap and then I'm going to work, and I'll see you in a couple of hours. Just got back from work. That was a long day, but I'm happy to say that it's 8:30 now. That is nearly 14 hours, a little over 14 hours since we woke up. So we woke up at 100%, used the phone a little bit heavier than normal, because I posted 3 videos across 3 platforms, and then I downloaded a 2.5 gig game just to simulate a big download, just because I thought that was something you would do when you set up a new phone, and also just set up some more apps on the phone, so a little bit harder workload than normal. We went out in the rain, survived that, thank God, and generally took more videos and photos than most people would take, because, for the video. And at the end of the day, what we're left with is 43%. 43%, you've got to understand, is with a screen on time of nearly 4 hours. So honestly, that's not bad. So now what I'm going to do is go to sleep. Hopefully we wake up with no less than 40%, let's say 35%. Going by the fact that we've used basically 60% over 14 hours, tomorrow, in theory, 6 hours on 30% remaining should be doable. That's still 1.5 days. I don't expect it to go 2 days, not with the current level of usage. I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you in the morning, and we'll figure it out together. The time is 6:21, 36% battery. So you used up about 6 or 7% overnight, just on standby. Temperature outside is 19 degrees this morning. It's not chilly or anything, but alright, let's head out. Alright, we're at the park, but it looks like there's no one around. Look, there's literally no one around. I think Kali's gonna have to wait for his friends to come, but that's okay, because it's a beautiful day. There's no rain, and I don't know if you can tell, but construction work has started. That's Dubai in a nutshell. If there's no rain, they're building something. If there's some rain, they're still building something most of the time. But what this means is that we can take our phone out and we can talk about the cameras. So let's start with the photos. Fundamentally, the camera is quite good. There's a good amount of natural background blur, and the 2 focal lengths are really quite useful. Now there is a 2x zoom, but it's mainly just a 12 megapixel crop into the 50 megapixel main camera. The first thing I noticed was the color science. It is surprisingly good, at least as far as photos is concerned, and at least in broad daylight. Now colors seem natural and just slightly on the warmer side, and what's better, it's actually consistent across the 3 focal lengths. Okay, the ultra wide does have a slight color shift towards the green, but honestly at this price I find that quite acceptable. Overall, I think with the colors, Nothing has done a great job here. Now, when it comes to darker shot, it does tend to brighten the image up, and in doing so, it also oversaturates it quite a bit, and this has remained the same after the firmware update as well. As for HDR, now the HDR button didn't seem to do much. Instead, I find that every photo I take was processed in HDR anyway, and if I'm being honest, the results are quite nice and surprisingly Google Pixel-like, which is not a bad thing at all. Even in very backlit conditions, you see that the exposure on my face was quite good, whilst the highlights were reduced as much as possible without ruining the photo. This and the color science is probably what Nothing has worked on the most here. Now, portrait mode is very hit and miss, and honestly, in many cases, it missed more than it hit. But the natural background blur of the main camera is really quite good, and you can always blur the background after the fact in Google Photos, which is probably the route I'm going to take with this phone's camera. Now, when it comes to videos... Alright, so I want to take a video with me well lit and moving around. This is handheld. I'm being a little extra obnoxious with the camera. Usually I'm a little bit more careful, but it's shaking about quite a bit, and sometimes what happens is the background shakes a little bit, just jitters a little bit with this, but that's, you know, at this price I couldn't expect for much more. But overall I'm actually quite happy with the video quality. But what about if I'm backlit? Let's see if it changes exposure accordingly. What are you seeing right now? Now we're going to try the stabilization. I'm going to run with this thing. I have no idea how this will look like, but if it looks good, it's great for a content creator. In bright conditions, the result is honestly quite good, but the moment the conditions darken a bit, the camera does seem to start to feel cheaper, probably because of the level of contrast and also the grain introduced into the image. But there are two main issues I have with the Nothing's camera. Number one is the front camera. It's terrible. It's both grainy and pretty low quality even in broad daylight. Yes, you can do 1080p, yes, you can go up to 60 frames per second, but the moment it gets darker, the quality just drops. Okay, I have tapped to focus on my face. This is the front camera, 1080p, 30 frames per second. You can go up to 60 FPS. I know that's important for some of you out there, but it's focused on my face, right? So it should be tagged sharp, and I am very well lit by a white LED street lamp. I'm going to tap to focus once again just to make sure. You can see that my face looks extremely smoothened. I don't think that's a processing. I think it's just an incapability of the front camera to capture much detail. And this is me very, very well lit. If I go any darker than this, it gets much, much worse. This is something they should probably work on, because even in broad daylight, it's not fantastic. But the big problem by a long way is the time it takes to take the photo. Anytime I needed to capture a moment quickly and with a moving subject, I often get a blurry mess. Sometimes even with slower movement, it can't quite fix focus correctly. I would highly advise that you use the tap to focus for best results. Still, moving objects and quickly trying to capture moments is a huge problem with the Nothing 2A, but often in life this is what we want to capture, and it gets worse in low light. Much, much worse. The need for a longer exposure along with an already slow and iffy autofocus system means that night shots with anything moving at all is basically impossible if you want the object in focus. Overall, I think the colors are fantastic, and video in broad daylight as well as photography in broad daylight is fantastic, but photography at night is definitely something they want to work on. Okay, so it's been 27 hours since we first did a full charge on the Nothing Phone 2A, and it's just dropped to below 20%. It was 20% just a while ago, but it's gone into battery saver mode. So now I'm really curious to see how much longer it'll go on battery saver mode. Now, I haven't used any of the other tools. Like, there is an adaptive battery thing that Android does, which learns your usage of apps and then limits battery usage for some of those apps. Also, there's a sleep standby optimization, which basically limits your network usage and stuff when you're asleep. All of that will help. Right now, I've got a little work to be done, but after that, you and I are going to take the Nothing Phone 2A to the mall and see if we can run it down. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Alright, it's time to go to the mall. I'm in the car and I'm going to use the maps because that's what normal people do, use navigation. It's about 20 minutes away. We have 15% battery left. Let's find out if it lasts all the way. Alright, we're driving along. We're about halfway there. Battery's definitely gone down, but I'm going to push through. This is nuts. Actually, not only am I using the maps in the background right now, I'm also recording video on the Nothing Phone 2A, and it's down to its last 15. Actually, probably a little less now. This is... I hope I make it to the mall. because I forgot to bring any other video recording device. I'm depending on you, Nothing, to stay alive for the next 15 minutes. Let's see how this goes. It's a beautiful day though. Beautiful day. Sunday morning in a mall in Dubai. Finding parking is a little bit of a hassle, and I really want to conclude this video with a video taken on this phone before it runs out. So, oh boy, 18 spaces left over here. Okay, maybe I'll find something. Oh, I don't have time for this. Move. Okay, made it. Just found parking. Now I gotta find that entrance. Gotta get back into the mall. We've got 10% left and we've got 10 minutes left, and it'll be basically 30 hours since we started this challenge. Where is that entrance? Oh, I see it. Almost there. We're in the mall. We made it. 9% left. I gotta say, guys, I was wrong. I thought this battery wouldn't last, but it's 1.5 days. It's 30 hours right now. But the fact is, I have not babied this. I've not used any battery optimizations, and it's gone on for a day and a half. If you start Battery Saver a little earlier, and if you baby this phone a little bit, I can imagine this being a 2-day phone. I didn't think I'd be able to say that, but here we are. So I'm going to conclude this video by making a video directly aimed at Calpe and Nothing. So here goes. I'm down to my last 9%. I've been testing the battery of the Nothing 2A, and man, first of all, it's a monster. Go check out the full video. But Calpe and Nothing, this goes out directly to you guys. This phone has thoroughly impressed, and I know a lot of people are saying it's more than the sum of its parts. Yes, it is all of that. But it's two things that I don't find in the market. 10 years ago when you tried it with OnePlus, all you had to do was value the customer, and it worked. Fast forward now, and all phones are specification monsters. You can't compete like that. But there's two things that you guys have done that stand out to me. Number one is, in this price category, all the phones push advertisements in your face. It's like a slap in the face, like your money wasn't good enough. But that's not true with you guys, is it? No advertisements is a huge relief, and is just respecting the customer. But there's another thing, the camera. In this price point, cameras tend to over sharpen your hair and over unblemish your face, and even if that's not true, even if you can turn that off, the colors are all wrong. That's not true here. It's not a perfect camera, don't get me wrong, but you get good colors, consistent colors across the three quote-unquote focal lengths, and man, the results are fantastic. This is being shot on a Nothing Phone 2A, in fact. So shout out to Calpe and Nothing for finding the things that differentiate this phone in this price category. I think this is the easiest recommendation I can make.